didn't blow out. That's awesome. Well, I can't believe it, but I got it boxed up today. Started on the notching right before lunch. Finished it pretty quickly. A couple hours later, I got the top glued on. I can't believe it. So we're pretty quick this time compared to the last guitar. This is only my second guitar, so I've got a long way to go. But anyway, this is the exact same spot I stood on my last guitar when I closed the box. Did the same thing. Did the same thing. Did the same thing.
Did the same thing.
I just decided to come out here because it's still daylight outside and it's easier to see for you, okay? So anyway, pretty good feeling. I feel really great about it. But next is the binding, and I know I'm gonna have some issues there, all right? So especially around this point right here. This is the point. So all around this area, it's gonna be a little tricky. So guess there's nothing to do but to do it, right? Ah. Here we go. What in the world? Looks like it chipped out a piece right here. Looks like this is the piece right here. What in the world? Oh my gosh. No, you can see right here. It almost looked like it dug in right there a little bit. But it chipped this little piece off. I think that's it. So now I gotta try to figure out how to get that on there. Let me work on that, I guess. Should be okay, I think. Just hope I can get that fixed. I got that piece back in, but there's still a little piece that's missing. The only thing about it is, at least it's not as big of a gap as it was. But, I should know. I'm just going to have to try to fill it up somehow once I get the purfling and binding on. Try to do something with that. So hopefully I can figure something out. I've got to get it set up now to get the binding. So hopefully that goes a little better. Oh, by the way, what I did was I put some shellac in the channel and let it dry. And then I put that little piece and put some thin super glue on top of it. So hopefully, from what I understand, the shellac should prevent the super glue from staining the end grain of the Sitka spruce. So I hope that's the case. I've spent some time setting up for the binding channel now. So I've got some test cuts in this MDF. I think I'm ready to go. So I didn't have the right size bearing again. So what I've had to do is wrap 3 wraps of the orange tape around the bearing to get it the right depth. Okay, so I guess I need to just stop talking about it and just do it. All right, let's take a look. Okay, a couple of things I want to mention, just kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit. I did not put the label inside the guitar. I meant to do that, so that's one thing. I cut the binding channels already, and I forgot to level the sides right before doing that. You know, you're supposed to come and use this rolling pin sander thing I've got to kind of level the sides, and I didn't do it. It's all these little tiny things in my head that I'm saying to myself, oh, I don't want to forget to do that next time. There's things that are building up in my head, a catalog of items that I will go through when I build a guitar again to remember to check this, remember to check that, don't forget to do this, don't forget to do that. So the other thing, I was about to start on the binding, but I can't yet because I forgot to cut this part out right here. So I've got to cut the width of the binding. So I've got to cut that far down and chisel this part out. I'm going to do the binding on the point after I get all the binding installed. So I'll bind the whole thing and then I'll actually do the point binding. I've got the binding actually in the bender in the other room. It's cooled down, so I can probably get the binding out. But before I can do anything, I'm going to cut this channel out. And I also bought some more super glue, Star Bond, just what I bought on Amazon that I could get in quick, and some accelerator, because I'm planning on doing the super glue method to do the binding. Being that I have the point to worry about, I just didn't feel comfortable using the yellow glue like I did on my last guitar. It was a huge mess, and you kind of got time against you. You got to glue it and then you got to get it in. And I can't see the gaps because the glue is filling up the gaps. It's just, I feel like I'd do better if I did super glue. I just feel like it. So after I get this cut, this piece right here, I'm going to take, and I already done this, but I need to make sure I've got all the binding channels covered with a coat of shellac, and that'll protect the edges of the Sitka from staining from the super glue. It's supposed to anyway. So anyway, another thing, I've got some suggestions from people on Instagram who suggested, you know, taking a router or a Dremel, cutting a straight piece out and then gluing a piece of my cutoffs on there and then rerouting the channel. I think it would have been easier to do that if I hadn't already cut the binding channel. So if I had still had the router set up to do the purfling, it would have been easier to do that because I could just glue it on and just route straight again. But now that I've cut the binding channel, I don't have that surface for the bearing to reference against, which means I'd have to change the bearing and then figure out the exact size. So I did a test on this cutoff piece. I took some yellow glue and I sanded got some bunch of sawdust of this purified Sitka, and I mixed it together and I took a little drill bit and I drilled a little hole in this piece about the size of that chip out, and I filled it with that paste. So it's dry, so we're going to take a look and see how it looks. If it's barely noticeable or not noticeable at all, I'm just going to fill that spot like that. But let's take a closer look at this. Let's take the sanding block and just kind of sand it off and just see what it looks like. Okay, so I can see it just a little bit. You can kind of see it if I shine the light on it, I guess, right there. Anyway, I've decided in my mind that I'm going to go ahead and do it like this because I feel it's more of a risk trying to reroute that channel and trying to glue a piece on. So I don't think that I'm just taking the easy way out. I really think it's a okay thing to do. I don't know, maybe I'm taking the easy way out. Good grief, I don't want to mess this up. I gotta make sure I don't go past the side. And this saw cuts pretty quick. Okay. I'm going to be super slow about this. Let me go ahead and finish. Catch back up with you. I stopped a little bit shy of the bottom, but now I've got to try to pare this out, which makes me nervous. Oh, I'm really nervous. Just figured it'd be easier to do this with the guitar in this vise. I'm planning on having the heel meet up with this right here, all the way straight back. I'm gonna do like a wide heel like I did on my last guitar. So, but I still want to be careful that I don't tear something out. Oh my gosh, I'm not trying to be super careful. This is the file I have that has a safe edge on it. Definitely don't want to go down farther than the thickness of the binding. Still got some room. Okay, I've gone about down as far as I can go without eating into the back right here. Came out better than what I thought it would. So anyway, I'm done with this part. So I guess I can really move on to the binding now, which is scary. This looks jacked up right now for sure. what I did, I just didn't feel good about filling it with something, you know, like I was saying, am I taking the easy way out? You know, I just want to start questioning myself whenever I do something different. Am I doing it differently because it's the right thing to do or because it's the easy way to do it, the easy way out? Now, this is not going to be perfect by any means, but what I tried to do was file the little hole with a flat spot on this side. And I took a little chip of Sitka spruce and just held it in place and super glued it. So now what I'm going to do is just kind of pare down as much as I can with my chisel, being as safe as possible because I don't want to screw this up. Anyway, this is obviously going to take some time, but I feel better about it, you know? I feel better. I feel like it's like more the right thing to do. It's not going to be perfect, like I said, but at least it mostly fills in the hole. The rest of it, I can just do the glue thing with the sawdust, and it maybe just might blend into the grain line. I did a couple of tests. Like this is the one that I did with the sawdust. I filled it up a second time, and then I covered it with shellac. And yeah, at a certain angle, you can't see it. But as soon as the light goes over it, it shows up. And then I did one with super glue just to see, and it does turn it black. So this is what it looks like to fill Sitka spruce top with sawdust and woodworking glue, and then sawdust and super glue. This one's better, obviously, with the glue, but neither of them are pretty. Oh, so I just didn't feel good, and I almost just wanted to take the easy way, but I decided I just need to go. This is a guitar that I'm planning on selling. You know, it needs to be right. It needs to be right. Now, like I said, I'm not an expert, and I hadn't done it perfectly, but I don't think that you'll really be able to see. At least I'm hoping that you won't be able to see anything once I get done with all of it. So that's what it looks like now. I'll catch up with you when I get done. All right, there's the result. I don't know if you can see that or not, if it's in focus, but there's the piece of wood right there in front of my fingernail that I added in there. And there is a small little black, what could almost be considered a grain line, but I did cover the little piece with shellac before I super glued it, but apparently some of the grain darkened a little bit, the end grain maybe. So what matters here to me is that I didn't take the easy way out, and I gave it a shot. I tried to fix it, and I did the best I could do. That's what's important to me now. Although it doesn't look perfect, it's better, in my opinion. I feel 100 times better in my head because I know at least I gave it a shot. Oh! Well, through the magic of TV, the binding is bent. I've already got one piece of purfling in here, cut to fit for the Florentine part, so I got to do the binding. I'm going to go ahead and get it taped up like it's supposed to be. These two will be the top pieces. I've already decided. I hope I don't mess this up. I hope I don't mess this up. So it's going to take me a little while, but I'm going to work on that, and then I'll do some updates here every once in a while. Catch back up with you. This GoPro just keeps stopping on its own. So I don't know how much I've lost, but I'm gonna go ahead and do a couple more since I know I got the camera running right now. Well, there it is. Top binding done. Feels good. Feels really good. It was difficult. You know, this wasn't easy for sure. So I'm going to go ahead and do the back binding exactly like I just did the top. But there's no purfling. So I decided not to do purfling. I just didn't have enough and I didn't want to bind anymore. So it should be a little bit easier. So, except for this. The bending of this is a little hectic because I'm trying not to break it. This one did actually crack a little bit. I heard some cracking whenever I was pushing, but it took a while to get it to bend all that much. So anyway, I got to do it all over again back here. let me go ahead and get the back binding done. And when I get done with all that, we'll catch up again. All right. So I've got the back binding done. See, I don't know if you can see that or not. So that darker color, that's the super glue. So the back was a little bit easier because I didn't have any purfling, but it was still difficult. This bend right here is crazy, trying to get that right. What I'm working on now is this. So I've got this cutout piece here, and I've got the point left to do too. So the only problem is, this is the longest piece of binding that I have left, and it's not enough for right there. So I only ordered 4 pieces of binding. I mean, I'm eventually going to get to where I can make my own binding, and but I'm just not there yet. But anyway, I need a piece for this. I'm not going to do just 2 pieces of binding like this and then try to make them all meet up. I'm going to do what Robbie teaches in his course, which is how I learned to do all this. So I need to get like a thicker piece of binding to do that, and a maple veneer to glue to the bottom of it. So I don't have any of that, and I don't have a piece long enough for this. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm at a stopping point for this video. I don't have what I need to finish. It's going to take a minute to get some of the stuff in. I got to look for what I need here, which is just a bigger piece of, I need a bigger piece of Indian rosewood and a maple veneer. And I got to make that part. I'm purposefully not covering 100% of everything of how to do this Florentine and the binding and everything, because I learned how to do it from Robbie O'Brien in his course, which is at o'brienguitars.com, soon to be lutheryacademy.com. This is something he just announced in the last month. So it's looking great. I really like the color of everything so far. The Indian rosewood with the ovankle looks really good to me. I like it, and I got my splash of color with the rosette. I'm going to have some bloodwood on the back strap, to kind of tie in the 2 reddish colors. So anyway, here's the back. The super glue method. It was nice being able to dry fit everything, but it was still kind of difficult. There's some things that I learned that are going into my library in my mind for guitar building. That I will know to look for next time I do a guitar build. So there's been so many little small learning points in this guitar build, and my first one, of course. But just little small, minute things that I'm realizing, okay, I need to make it a little better next time. Don't do that again. Just different things like that. So the way I held in the binding with a piece of wood was one of them, okay? So anyway, this is the end of this video. In the meantime, I'm going to work on getting this piece in and then doing the point. So hopefully by the time we come back on the next part, I can show you what it looks like, and then we can get on to doing the neck joint and all that other scary stuff, okay? So by the way, my Instagram channel is at CMRWood, and I've also started another channel called at McDowell.Guitars. So that's going to be the name of my guitar company. Whenever I get around to starting that, I'll post like more, I guess, professional type pictures over there for whenever I have some guitars built. But anyway, posting a lot of background, behind the scenes pictures of this whole thing. So if you want to keep up with me, that's the best place to do it in between videos, okay? Again, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.